Hi, I'm Joe Mazza, First Selectman. I'm here with part of our emergency management team. I'd like to introduce to you Chief Terabile, Deputy Chief Hutchinson, our Assistant Fire Chief, Wayne Vitri, and I have here on my right Tom Filion, our Highway Superintendent, and Jim Portley, who's Director of Engineering and the Highway Department. Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning. And the reason we're coming to you today is to brief you on what we call winter preparedness. We're just about to enter our winter season, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to refresh everyone on how we can prepare for winter. I'd like to start with our police department. Chief Terabile, if you'd like to take over.
Sure. What we'd like to explain to you today is, number one, regarding the streets, about plowing when the streets close. Number two, the sidewalks, when the sidewalks have to be shoveled. And then we'll talk about snow on cars, and then the last thing we'll talk about windshields. So with that, I'll let the Deputy Chief explain to you what the town ordinances are on those objects I just talked about.
Kind of a lot of subjects, but I think most people are pretty familiar with the requirements when winter comes around regarding these things, but we'll take it one at a time. First of all, what's important to remember to facilitate the clearing of the streets is that between December 1st and April 1st, between the hours of 1 a.m. and 7 a.m., there's no parking on the streets, and that's to facilitate, again, the snow clearing. So starting November 14th, our officers on the midnight shifts have been going out and placing warnings on cars that they're finding parked in the street, just as a reminder in anticipation of this December 1st start date, that between those periods, you need to make sure that your cars are parked off the street. If they're not, they're going to start receiving tickets. We do these warnings several weeks ahead of time so people don't get upset and don't get surprised. In addition to the warnings the officers are putting out, you're also going to see on GCTV, in addition to this, there's reminders, text reminders on there if people are looking at GCTV, just to get people to start thinking about it. Unfortunately, the snow's coming, and we need to plan for that. Secondly, when the snow comes, which I personally hope it doesn't, but it will come, within 24 hours, citizens with sidewalks need to make sure they clear those within 24 hours. And again, that's important. It's a safety concern. It's so people can navigate those sidewalks. We don't want people on bicycle, people with baby carriages, people in wheelchairs, people simply walking. If the sidewalks aren't cleared, that diverts them probably into the street where they're walking, which isn't the safest place for them to be. That's why we have sidewalks, to make sure that they're in a safe area when they're walking. So within 24 hours of a snowstorm, citizens are responsible for clearing the sidewalks that are in front of their streets. Or again, you'll see, you might see a door tag hanging on your house reminding you that hey, you have 24 hours to get these things cleared, or you're going to start seeing tickets. There is a provision within the ordinances that if it's gone for too long, or if it's such a safety concern, the town can actually go take on the responsibility of clearing those sidewalks themselves and pass the cost on to the resident there. So it's a lot easier for you to do it yourselves and than to have the town bill you for it.
On one issue on the streets, it's no parking anytime whenever it's snowing. So just because it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you still can't park your car in the street if it's snowing.
Right, so that's in addition, good point by the chief, in addition to the 1 a.m. to 7 a.m., even when it's not snowing. It's important to note. When it is, you can't have your cars on the streets. One of the third issues is there's a public act that was passed a while back, 10-182. Before you get in your car, if you're not lucky enough to have had a garage and your car is covered with snow or ice, you have a responsibility of clearing the snow off the hood, the roof, the trunk, because as you drive, that snow is coming off and it's causing a hazard for the cars behind you. And it's necessary for you to clear those before you go onto the street, which also applies to your windshield. We have a lot of those situations where the officers are out there and someone goes out and scrapes a little kind of spot about that big on their windshield, and you see them driving down the street trying to peek through and see where they're going. It's against the law to do that. You need to clear your windshield, you need to clear your back window so you can actually see and have proper visibility to navigate the roads without causing any accidents. So again, if you're unfortunate enough to not be able to park into a garage and avoid that issue, before you get on the road, you need to clear the roof, you need to clear the trunk, you need to clear the hood, and you need to scrape the ice off the windshield. So give yourself a little extra time in the morning on those days where it's icy or snowy, so you're not in a hurry and creating a hazard for yourself and others.
Okay, great.
Chief?
I think we're good.
Thank you. Before I turn it over to the Wayne, our Assistant Fire Chief, I just want to remind everybody that for a while now, Guilford has invested money in our emergency notification system, and we have over 1,000, almost 1,500 residents on that system. And I'm going to bring this up again. It's important that you sign up for that system. It's very easy to do. Just get onto our website, or if you need assistance, call up the Selectman's office or stop in, and we can help you sign up for that system. It's an emergency notification system. We don't overuse it. We've tested it several times, and you can get alerted through. Can I have your phone, Jim, a minute? You can take this one.
Yep.
As an example, you can get it on your iPhone, you can get it on your landline, you can get notified on your PC, BlackBerry, whatever, however you want to be notified. And it's a quick way, it's a lot easier and a lot quicker than being notified on the reverse 911, and we encourage you to sign up for it. We can get to you a lot quicker by getting onto our emergency notification system. So enough for the commercial. Chief.
But I think it's also important to note that the telephone company database is limited to landlines.
That's right.
With the use of the cell phones today, if you don't register, they have no way of getting to you from our system without registering your cell phones.
Good. Thank you.
I wanted to talk today about carbon monoxide detectors and smoke detectors, and I talk about smoke detectors a lot, and we would like to also emphasize carbon monoxide detection. The threat actually increases with carbon monoxide in the wintertime when things are closed up and we're using our fuel burning appliances for heat. Anything that burns fuel has a byproduct of combustion and will create carbon monoxide. One of the things to remember is that the older units require batteries, or they require a plug-in power source. There are devices that are out there now that are coming out with self-contained sealed batteries that have a lifetime expectancy. Some of them are 10 years, and some of them are limited to the manufacturer's limitation, but a lot of manufacturers are limiting them to 10 years, no changing of the battery. You don't have to worry about that cycle. One of the things that you need to understand with the smoke detectors is that they have a life expectancy for the usefulness. And you need to follow the manufacturer's recommendation for the smoke detectors or the carbon monoxide detectors. If it says 7 years, it needs to be discarded. And if it doesn't have a description and you can't find it, it's probably likely that if you've had it for some time, it should be replaced and buy something that is listed by UL and actually talks about the expiration date. If it's more than 7 years old, you should think about replacing it. Definitely, if it's 10 years old, you need to replace it. Even the hardwired smoke detectors, they should be checked because they do have a limit to their manufacture date also at 10 years. We're still finding that some people are still not keeping batteries in their smoke detectors, or in some cases don't have smoke detectors at all, and we highly recommend the use of carbon monoxide detectors and several of them in the home. When we talk about heating equipment, this time of year when we turn the switch on or we go to our wood stoves or our fireplaces, it's important that we have them cleaned and maintained at least annually, or as the manufacturer would recommend. And once again, even the gas units, a lot of people think that gas units do not need to be maintained, and they really do. Wood tends to be the type of heat that needs the most attention and will need more cleaning on a regular basis. We want to make sure that you know that when you are burning wood, that you use clean, dry hardwood to minimize the buildup. When you're emptying your stove, make sure that you use a metal container to take the ashes out, and you need to keep it well clear of the building. The myth is that once my fire goes out, my ashes are cool. I've seen them up to 3 days where the cinders are still hot. So it is a myth that once the fire's out, the ashes are cold and won't start a fire. They need to be discarded properly and discarded at least 10 feet away in a metal container away from the building. With any of your venting, you want to make sure that snow and other debris are clear of the discharges, and so that you get your fresh air intake and you get your discharge as appropriate. If anyone has any questions about heating units and the maintenance required, they're always welcome to give the fire department a call at 203-453-8056. We'll talk about the heating appliances, and we'll talk about carbon monoxide and smoke detectors.
Good, thank you, Chief. Let's talk about snow removal.
We could do that.
Okay.
But one thing, just to follow up a little bit on what Wayne said, we did have, was it 3 years ago now, somebody dropping off ashes from obviously fireplace. We had a fire in the transfer station because people did not make sure.
That's a good point.
Those cinders were fully extinguished. And it was quite a loss for the town. We had
That's
to
right,
rebuild
yeah.
the transfer station. So that's something that's very serious. It's not only keeping you away from your house, but where you dispose of it is a major issue.
Jim and Tom, I think what's important for the citizens to understand is the protocol that we use in clearing roads. Everybody wants their road cleared first.
Right.
And that's totally impossible. So I'd like you two gentlemen to explain what the process is.
Okay, well, I'm Jim Portley, and good morning. Tom will take care of the actual mechanism, how we do that, but we do have a priority list. We do clear the main roads, the main thoroughfares that serve the town. The major roads like Long Hill Road, Little Meadow Road, Goose Lane. Get those major thoroughfares open right away. Then we go back and we start dealing with the secondary. And Tom, you can go into that.
Right, and that's definitely what we do. We open the main thoroughways, and then secondary roads will be afterwards. Also, we make sure that around the schools, anywhere around the schools are taken care of too, with the special treatment there. In order to help us out a little bit this winter, you can follow the parking ban that's been set, because that's really important. A lot of times we spend a lot of time where we have to go back because there's vehicles in the way. Blowing snow into the road is another issue that you can blow it back on your own property. It will melt. Contractors, you should talk to your contractors about plowing in. They shouldn't be plowing back out into the road and then leaving stuff on the side of the curbs. Mailboxes should be adjusted so that they're behind the face of the curb. Trash cans, again, offset from the curb. Low-hanging branches, if you can do anything to help us out beforehand on that. And then wait to shovel your aprons until we finish towards the end, because a lot of people get mad when they end up having material back in. And you can put that snow to the side of the flow of the traffic. This way here, it won't be pushed back into your driveway. And then pets and kids in the roads, we've dealt with plenty of that, and I ask you to have special attention to that. And the only other thing is, if you see a driver and they're doing an intersection, please have the respect of waiting for them to clear the intersection and honk the horn. They won't get mad if you honk the horn, to let them know that where you are, because those trucks, you know, the visibility is not the best. So if you honk the horn, the driver will be aware that you're in the area. And that's about all I have to say.
I think one of the biggest problems that we've faced is with the independent, call them landscapers or driveway clearers, is that you mentioned that they plow the driveway snow back out into the streets.
Right.
And then you guys get the calls, and I get the calls, is that my street hasn't been plowed. Yeah, it's been plowed, but what happened, your guy just pushed your snow from your driveway back into the street, and we have to keep going
Right.
back. And that prevents us from hitting other other streets that have not been plowed.
Right.
So please have your guys cooperate and have them follow the procedure that Tom just laid out, and we'll get through these storms a lot quicker and a lot safer. Jim, you were going to say something?
It's just a matter of consideration. And we work closely with the police. Police are on the road 24 hours a day. They keep us abreast of what's going on in terms of a storm and everything else. We don't want to have guys just sitting in trucks waiting for the snow to fly. We wait for the snow to start coming or accumulating before we actually go out. And it depends on the time of day and so forth. Obviously, if it's during the day, we're out immediately. We're sanding and salting. We do have major roads, especially up north, where we put what we call ice be gone down first, so that you don't have a buildup of any ice on the road so as the storm proceeds. But we really depend on the police to kind of give us a heads up of what's actually happening out there. We all know that you can look at the weather reports all you want. There's nothing better than being outside and looking at what's happening. And we really appreciate the help of the police in that respect. But the other thing is just a consideration. Many times we'll have this issue that Mr. Mazza just talked about, where people push this snow out into the road. We've talked about what's the best procedure to follow in terms of stopping that. Do we then go after and push snow back into people's driveways or whatever? And that all that does is create agitation on all levels. But it is an issue. Not only do they push the snow across, but they leave a little pile of snow on each side of the driveway as they go across the roads. You've got these little bumps which as traffic continues, can pack down and become an issue in terms of icing up and just packing. So it's just, if everybody has a little bit of common sense and slow down. I mean, years ago, people with the snow days would enjoy the snow days. I mean, when the assistant chief said that wait, no snow, I could hear all the kids groan. Kids love snow days, and it's part of our lives, I think, in New England. So they should not always be avoided. But if just people would just slow down. The biggest issue we have is people trying to race. They're not giving themselves enough time to. If you got a snow incident that occurs, take 10 or 15 minutes more out of your schedule to get someplace, rather than think it's still July 4th and you can drive at 50 miles an hour down these roads. You got to slow down, and I think that's the biggest issue, because that kind of sense of hurry creates a lot of conflict out there. And our guys are out there all night and day sometimes. They're exhausted. Maybe they show a little bit of impatience too, but if we give each other consideration, it'll work a lot better.
I just want to remind everyone that Guilford geographically is a pretty large town. And we have over 182 miles of town road to maintain. That's not counting the state highways, state roads. DOT takes care of that. So it's a lot of area for.
With 3 different climates.
That's right. For
we have a climate near
public
the
works
shore.
to take care of. And you're right. If you have the shoreline, and if you get then you get past 95 at Stepstone, and if you go past 80, it's a totally different climate and world. Right. The other thing I wanted to mention, and the fire chief can comment on this, is that if you have an emergency, and we had a lot of them during the blizzard of 2013, and you need medical assistance, or there's a structure fire, we will get there. Even if your road is not plowed.
Yes.
We will get there, right, Chief? And we have.
We will, and we have some means to get there. We work together with the Public Works Department, and we have a vehicle that helps us get to the scene by moving snow and putting down some sand. And we work together. Whoever's closest will get there and get things opened up. We have an all-wheel drive vehicle, military-type vehicle for evacuations, and we will get to where you have your incident. We've been fortunate with the equipment that we've been able to use.
I'd like to mention one thing too,
Sure,
Joe,
Tom.
is the superintendent of schools communicates with us in the middle of the night trying to determine the status of the roads. He's the one that makes the determination if school's gonna be closed or when it's gonna be closed. But please listen to the TV stations that are out there that he puts out for your media, rather than bothering fire dispatch or police dispatch. At that point, we're real busy. We don't really have the time be answering questions when school open or close. There's all kinds of media. It's on GCTV. It's on the news. You can get on the computer. So please stay away from our emergency centers. We have a lot to do at that point. So communicate with the school system on the closures.
Yeah, plus the school has their own communication system, which they notify the parents. Okay? But anybody else want to have anything more to say that they'd like to advise the citizens of? I think we've pretty much covered everything. I guess the way I want to wrap this up, it's just a matter of common sense and to be safe and keep your family safe. Yeah. If you have any questions, certainly you can contact the Selectman's office and check our website. And again, I want to remind everyone who's not signed up for the emergency notification system, please do so. Check the website. Sign in front of Town Hall is always there. It tells you how to do it. The women in Town Hall will certainly give you directions on how to do it if you're having difficulty. But if there's any emergency where we have to contact you, and like I said, just about everybody carries a mobile device with them, and that's the quickest way that we can get in touch with you. Even if there's a power failure, these things work. So please do so. I want to thank all of you for spending some time and giving us the information that's important to our citizens. And thank you for everyone who views this tape. Have a good day. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.